One of the stars of Ghost Adventurers got a very alarming phone call. And the essence was this. Aaron Goodwin was told by police detectives that his wife put a hit out on him, wanted to kill him, and was trying to do so by enlisting the help of a man who is in prison for murdering his parents and doing all sorts of other heinous things. And that somehow she struck up a relationship with this guy while he was behind bars and ultimately asked him to find a hitman on the outside to do in her husband. It is a crazy story.
Crazy story. So the guy that Victoria, Aaron's wife, was speaking to is a guy named Grant Amato. And his case is pretty famous in Florida because he killed his parents and his brother because he essentially fell in love with a webcam model on the internet and used over $200,000 of their money to pay for webcam services. And essentially they sent him to like a rehab facility. He got out. He got in a fight with them and ended up murdering them. Well, anyways, she got in touch. She saw there's a true crime documentary about this guy. She saw the documentary and essentially struck up a friendship with him. And she says she became pen pals with him in jail. This leads to...
I'm sorry for laughing, but it's just
crazy.
So crazy.
So she's like, wow, this is interesting. I like this guy.
Essentially, and that's at least what she's told cops, is she reached out to him. They were pen pals. So Grant had a legal phone, like a mobile cell phone in prison that was confiscated. They back in October, they go through his phone in December and find this communication between him and Victoria and realize that they had been planning to have Aaron killed while he was filming Ghost Adventures. Victoria was sending the guy in jail, Grant, his location, where he was going to be, and Grant was then contacting a hitman outside of jail that was supposed to essentially kill Aaron.
And pay him $11,000. And at least according to one of the text messages, my understanding is, Devin, that she made a down payment of $2,500 according to cops.
She had through a PayPal account had paid $2,500, but they allegedly had put together $11,000 together that once the job was finished, that's how much they were going to pay this guy. When cops confronted Victoria at her house at the end of last week about all this, she essentially said she was having marriage problems with Aaron at the time. She was just pen pals with this guy. And yes, she did fantasize about being with this other guy, Grant, but that ultimately she didn't want her husband killed. And she believed that when she sent the $2,500, it was for a cell phone for Grant.
A $2,500 cell phone? Well, wait a minute. He already had a cell phone because that's how she was communicating with him.
But then it was confiscated. And then did she say that she didn't remember sending these messages?
She alleged that some of the messages she didn't remember sending, then she fessed up to sending some of them, but ultimately said she didn't want her husband killed. And clearly, the one thing we don't know is what ended up happening with this hitman, because this was supposed to happen in October when Ghost Adventures was filming in Barstow, and obviously Aaron was still alive. And actually, the cell phone got confiscated a day after the hit was supposed to actually happen, so no clue what ended up happening with the hitman.
Well, but you know what's really interesting about that? That's a good defense to say if she really did intend to do it, it didn't happen. So she's saying, I never intended all along. I'm not sure if that's going to fly with a jury, but it didn't happen.
Do you think you would forget, though, if you asked a murderer to help murder your husband?
She was busy.
You don't think that's a message? I can't remember asking him that.
This is just a crazy crazy
and you
story.
would think this guy, Aaron's got to have some serious trust issues going forward.
You would think, right?
Yeah.
I have a feeling this marriage is not long for the world.